He's the CEO for the Youth Enterprise Support, and we know that they also have an initiative. I just wanted to ask him whether they've changed the name. Have you changed the name?
Yes.
It's now
National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, NEP, NEIP.
Okay, National
Entrepreneurship
Entrepreneurship
and Innovation Plan.
And Innovation Plan, National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. So that's
NEIP, yes.
NEP. Okay, and I know that you have new things you're rolling up. I think we have to come and find some time and talk about it. And then also we have. He's always causing sensation, and he's caused a number of sensations over the last 24 hours. Al-Hassan Suhuyini is a member of parliament for Tamale North, and my girlfriend, good morning.
Good morning, Roland.
Right.
Good to be here.
Yeah, true. And I know that you're trending because you use wrestle with a pig. It's an idiomatic expression I used to use back in the day whilst I was on TV. And I know he used it and became, when I first saw it, I said, well, I hope that is not misconstrued, and then somehow it was. I know that it was in response to a post by one Mr. Damois. Is it Nana Damois? Oh, okay. And it looks like perhaps maybe you shouldn't have used it, or you used it rightly. What would be your point of argument there?
I think that...
but if you can just perhaps give viewers a certain preamble to that story in itself, whilst you greet your constituents, etc.
I will do that. I will do that. But let me say good morning to our viewers, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think that ethnocentric comments are very, very dangerous. But what is worse is to lie about people on ethnic lines or suggest that they engage in ethnocentrism when they indeed haven't. That is more dangerous than even making ethnocentric comments. And I think that we should all, especially those in the communication space, be very careful that we don't set this country on a path that we will all regret one day. Roland, like you said, idiomatic expressions are taught at the basic level. So you have asked me to let viewers know what happened. Now, hear it from the horse's own mouth. Okay. Does it mean that I am calling myself a horse? And like the way they have stretched it, I'm calling all my tribemen horses? Why are we doing this to our children who are learning from us? Learning English, because you just don't learn in the classroom. They also are on social media. And so for it to even be suggested that you shouldn't have used it, so that some people's ego can be satisfied. Okay, Alassane. It's a disincentive.
Alassane, tell me what really elicited your response.
Okay. So on social media, we all have people we don't engage for very good reasons. People come and invite you to a discussion, and you assess what they are about or what they intend to do, and you decide not to engage. And so Nana Damois writes on his page. You recall that last week I was on this set and I talked about Fancy Gadam's song.
Yeah, sure.
And likened it.
You trended with that too.
And said it was deception. Now he writes on his page that he has seen that I talk about the NPP as being a deceptive party with the implementation of the free SHS. So I should write one policy of the NDC that can be equated to free SHS. On his wall, with my name, I ignored him because I didn't want to engage him. Then I write hours later on my wall about the identification card and some other things, completely unrelated to what he wrote. Then he comes to write beneath my comment on my wall that, Chief, you still haven't answered my question. So, like the use of that idiomatic expression, I don't want to engage you. So I say, I don't want to wrestle with pigs in their pen because you have taken me to your wall. The intention was to invite me there. I should come and make comments there, and then your people will descend on me and insult me. Now you have come to my wall. I ignore you on your wall. You still come to my wall. It's like coming to my house to still invite me to a fight. And I say, I don't want to fight.
Okay.
I don't want to engage you. And then he comes to say that I will soon see. That was a threat.
When you decided to take him on?
No, I didn't.
Or you just wrote that?
He just came and wrote that I will soon see whether I want to engage with pigs or not. I'll see. That's a threat. You will see. Okay. Then hours later, that story emerged that Suhuyini, I won't wrestle with pigs, cans because they are pigs. Completely unrelated.
Okay, but I know I used to use it for a couple of years. I used it a couple of times, and but wrestle with a pig just means to engage in a struggle with an opponent that benefits from the struggle even without winning it. But you, as a political party person, looking at the demographics of the people that you tend to interact with, perhaps shouldn't it come to mind that people may misconstrue whether it's a known idiom or not known idiom to mean different things?
Let's not do that. I think it's not healthy.
English is English, you say?
I think it's not healthy.
All right.
I think that it doesn't encourage learning. It doesn't encourage learning.
Okay.
What is the use of knowledge when you can't use it? Okay, so I go to school, I'm taught idiomatic expressions. I can't use it because some people will misunderstand. Should it be my fault that they don't have that understanding that we all got from school in the classroom? I don't think.
Well, you're a journalist, so perhaps you're exposed to more English language than many others. I think we have to put that into perspective. But John Kumar, I don't know whether you're familiar with what I'm talking about, especially happened on Facebook, and has generated a lot of heated debate over the last 24 hours. I think over the last 12 hours, actually.
Yes, I got tagged with it last
you got
night.
tagged?
Yes. And
so when you woke up, or late into the night, you looked at it?
Late into the night. I mean, I saw the anger of some of the comments people were making. And I thought this morning, giving my brother an opportunity to at least remedy the situation, but he seems to be firm on what he thinks is right. As he started by saying, ethnocentric comments can be very dangerous for all of us. And when we use words, when we were taught in school about idiomatic expressions, we were also taught about contextualized meanings of words. And so when people read what you think is harmless and they interpret it to mean you are insulting them or you are hurting them, I think the good thing to do is to withdraw it or retract it and just say you are sorry, then we move on. That is when you want to be a leader or you want to show that you are a responsible individual. But to try to explain it away and insist that somebody came to your wall and so you are entitled to write whatever you think you were taught in school, for me, is misinterpreting the meaning of what you were taught in school. I don't think what happened was right. I mean, to refer to a colleague as a pig, which you will not engage. Well, but that is it. He's a politician. He must understand that.
Yeah, I was just asking that, but it really is.
When you say it's a idiomatic expression, you know that you were taught to use it contextually, and you can't just pick words and say they are idiomatic expression. There are meanings of words depending on how you use it. You understand? And sometimes they said somebody visited his father who was supervising, I think, his cattle or something, and he said, "Daddy, leave the animals and come and talk to me." He spoke in Twi, and it was very offensive to the daddy. But he was just saying, leave the cattle and then attend to me.
The animals.
Yes. But the context of the words can always... You understand? So the same idiomatic expression, if used in a certain political context, and he has given us the background that he didn't want to engage him in the first place. So already there's bad blood. So if you go ahead to use pigs and pen in your anger to describe a situation you don't want to engage.
It's an expression. I want you also to put that into context.
Yes, it is the expression that I'm saying, the context of the expression, where he starts by saying he will not engage such a person. So already you want to exhibit a certain emotion to everybody. And that's your choice of expression, which is very bad. You see?
So you're saying the intent.
It is the intent behind it. And he clearly explains it here. And I'm saying that, look, if this was the background, then you must as well just retract it and say you are sorry and move on. But for you to defend it and make it look like you were taught idiomatic expression in school and you can use it anyhow, anywhere, any day, for me it's very unfortunate. It's not something we must encourage. Like he started by saying, these lines of expressions in our politics, in our use of language, and especially in our description of people belonging to different groups, can be very dangerous for all of us.
But he never even referred to tribe in the statement.
I haven't, but others have interpreted
I know.
his use of language to mean so. And I'm saying that for his own advice to be respected, the best thing to do when you have been misquoted, even when you meant it well, is just to put it in context and apologize about it and move on. But for you to sound, you know...
If he apologized, he would have lost for using a positive expression, or perhaps an expression that is good in English.
Why do we want to reduce humanity to victories, to I won, you lost? I mean, it's also about your own personal integrity,
right.
and as an individual politician, as you grow, you understand. These things that we do today comes back to hurt us tomorrow, you understand? So for me, if it was well intended, but so far he has not convinced me that it was well intended, because he gave the background as somebody who will not engage, and that he even refused to talk to him on his wall. But for him to follow up to his wall meant that it was opportunity to hit hard at him. So clearly, your use of words, in the context that you used it, you really wanted to hurt him, which you have achieved. But other people are complaining, so what do you do? We all sometimes go beyond the border, and when you think that you have used words which hurts the feelings of other people.
But Dr. Kumar, I have to say
yes,
that when you compare the NDC communication team on social media and then the MPP communication team, the MPP has a vibrant communication team than the MPP has a vibrant social media communication team than the NDC. So definitely, if you makes such a comment, and those who are vibrant on the side of the MPP communication team, they'll definitely come hard at him.
I don't know who is judging who is vibrant and who is not. What I know is that we all make... I remember Nanado went to say, "All die be die" in Koforidua when he was talking to NPP people.
It was in contest.
In contest. And we know how the NDC picked that phrase and turned it against him and dehumanized him in this country until the point that he had to apologize. He paid the price for it politically. You understand? So sometimes you may mean well, but your opponents can lack to it and turn it and give it a different way. You may not be at every position to explain. So your best bet, say you are sorry and move on.
John Kumar,
and
with this example of Nanado or Daibida, you win the debate. I think that is as far. But
I defended that statement almost throughout the campaign until later Nanado himself said, "Look, I didn't mean any harm."
I just wanted, and all of us.
So he wins the debate.
No. He wins his debate. He wins his
lose.
debate on trying to defend whatever it is his point is. But I just wanted to. I have used this phrase several times back in the day when I used to be on TV, doing news, etc. And I don't know whether if it's found to be offensive today, but not found to be offensive then, it means that it's because those who were the audiences or the receivers of the message perhaps had better appreciation of the phrase than anybody. Perhaps they don't have it.
Roland, you see, first of all, there is a mischief out there. Beyond the deliberate distortion of this idiomatic expression, the angle of ethnicity that is introduced. Why is my brother not talking about it? So, assuming I even wanted to hurt Nana Damwa, which is not the case. Like I said, there are just some people you don't debate because you can't win. It's not out of bitterness, it's not out of anger, but you know that it's a waste of time engaging some people because you can't win with them. Their minds are made up. And so even if you present facts, it will confuse them. So that is my position. There are some people I don't engage not because I disrespect them, not because I don't like them, but because I know it is fruitless engaging them on social media. So even if I wanted to hurt him and then I did that, where is that introduction of accounts from? Why extend it to a whole ethnic group? Why? That's where I'm saying it's dangerous. what we are doing is dangerous. It will set this country on a path we will all regret one day. Okay, so I say that you, Nana Damwa, I don't want to wrestle with you. Assuming that, which is not what I did, assuming that I even call you Nana Damwa a pig, doesn't mean that all accounts, I was calling all accounts pigs. Since when did you become the representatives of accounts? That's the danger I'm talking about.
Because there was a follow-up with the story on Ghana Web.
Let's not reduce this to just politics. It is dangerous. Look, Roland, if I send you the messages that I've been receiving on Facebook from people who may be from the Akan tribe and are genuinely hurt by this mischief, you'll be shocked. But you see, what happens, I don't even want to go there. But you see, gradually we are setting this country on that path. It is dangerous. So if Nana Damwa says that I call him a pig, why don't they do a story and say that I call Nana Damwa a pig? Why extend it to accounts? What are you seeking to achieve by extending it to accounts? Assuming that I even actually called him a pig when I didn't. Because like we all know, it is a common idiomatic expression. But you see, I don't want us to go into an old debate because it is dusted. The debate of all die be die. My brother kept talking about context. And he also referred to context. Let us be very sincere. I like that. I like sincerity in my approach and fairness. If we are talking about context, let's be fair of the context on the all die be die. It wasn't just a one phrase. It was a complete, if you like, paragraph. Nana Akufo-Addo started from somewhere. He started from Etiwa by-elections. He talked about what happened at Etiwa by-elections. And what happened at Etiwa by-elections? Violence happened at Etiwa by-elections. In fact, some people on Oman FM, I have their names, actually bragged about how they chased some NDC tags out of Etiwa. And Nana Addo referred to that and said, kakra. That was the context. So you don't compare that to a common English expression. I mean, if, for example, I tell you that, look, maybe the appointment you have is not the one you are targeting. You see, but in life, all die be die. In this approach, you need to, that is completely different. The understanding of that will be different from the context within which Nana Addo said it. All die be die, yes, it's also an expression. But like you said, the context is important. And in this case, when my issue with Nana Damwa, what was the context? You are inviting me to a debate, and I'm saying I won't debate you. And that is how that expression is used.
All right, so wrestle with a pig is an idiomatic expression to engage in a struggle with an opponent that benefits from the struggle even without winning it. All right, so let's, I don't know whether this will put this to bed, but we know that the president has issued a release, or the president's issued a release, and it says that the president is proposing a legislation to Parliament to designate August 4 as Founders' Day, and then September 21 will be commemorated as Ghana's Liberation and Independence Day, or just the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day. I have to start with you, John Kuma. We have another debate on our hands about ideologies and who started what, etc.
Yes, these issues have come up because I think the NDC under Professor Mills tried to establish this Founders' Day, where they made 21st September, which happens to be the birthday of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and a holiday and a day to represent making him the founding father of this country. And I think at the time, many objections came onto this matter, especially when, if you look at the facts of how Ghana became independent, you realize that Nkrumah played a major role, but could not have been the only person who founded this country. And all the arguments kept unfolding until we are where we are today. And clearly, If you look at the release that the president gave, right from the date of 4th August with the Aborigines Rights Society and what role they played in fighting the greedy British colonial masters when they attempted to acquire our lands, compulsorily acquire our lands in this country, and how subsequently even the UGCC was outdoored on the same 4th August, of which Nkrumah too was part. And then before finally Nkrumah broke away and formed the CPP. So clearly you cannot, you cannot but agree with the fact that Nkrumah couldn't have founded Ghana as the NDC attempted to twist the history of this country by making Nkrumah's birthday so significant and to tie the entire independence struggle to just an individual, which couldn't have been the case. So I agree with the proposal the president is proposing, that we make the 4th August the actual Founders Day. Founders, including Nkrumah himself, the big sis, and all the others who played significant roles towards the Independence Day. And then also the need to also have a memorial day for the first president of Ghana, which is Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. My only difficulty with the proposal is the 2 holidays being proposed. And already I think we have too many holidays as a country. And I mean, it's a proposition from the president. I would have been happy if it was just one holiday with the founders, including Dr. Kwame Nkrumah on the Founders Day, because Nkrumah will be part of the founders. So if you can have one holiday for all the founders, I think it is fine. Then we can have a special ceremony or a commemorative event on the birthday for Osajifo, some lectures or something where in the various campuses or students can learn something about his role and all that. For me, that would have been good. But to propose another holiday for celebration of the Nkrumah's birthday, for me, is something I think may have to be relooked at because we already have too many holidays as a country, and we have to look at that. Otherwise, I think everything is fine. We need to respect the role everybody played in this country, and we cannot begin to make one individual take all the credit for the effort so many people made. And of course, I respect the role that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah played, but I don't think that was any, it was better than any other role that some people also played to even bring him into the struggle, because it was other people who recruited him into the struggle. And of course, when he came, he really delivered his function as the secretary or even as the first president of this country. We know the impressive role that he played, but it doesn't take away from the others, the efforts they made, the contributions they've made, and even the suggestions that they all contributed to making Ghana a great nation. So for me, it is a proposal worth considering. But the only problem for me with this proposal is the 2 holidays. If we can do one holiday for the founders, to be good.
Suhuyini, you're in 2 minds as well?
Not really. I think that I read somewhere that any attempt to envy the role or the shine that Nkrumah gets across the world is like kicking your foot against a stone. I mean, if you go to Addis Ababa today, Nkrumah's statue is standing there long after Ghanaians or some Ghanaians pulled his statue down. It tells us something. Some Ghanaians pulled the statue down. But far away in Addis Ababa, where the AU, African Union, so it's like the headquarters of Africa, his statue stands. That is something that perhaps those who are envious of the stature of Nkrumah should begin to learn. I mean, I find this debate very needless about whether Nkrumah is the founder, whether we should have Nkrumah Memorial Day and then we should have Founders Day. Let's be sincere. Every country has a founder. In the US, I think they talk about Abraham Lincoln and others. Was he the person who discovered America? You see, in the last election, the flag bearer of the NPP and now president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, he led the NPP. He won a sweet victory on behalf of the NPP. The Chief Justice swore him in as president. Why didn't he swear John Kuma in? Does it mean he was not part of the struggle to win? My brother here, John Kuma, does it mean he was not part of the struggle to win the NPP victory? I mean, win that sweet victory? There are so many people who will always be part of the history of successes. Like the national team. Sometimes the captain will even lift the trophy when he is not the one who scored the winning goal. But he's captain. So he steps forward to lift the trophy. So what is new here? Is Jesus Christ not the founder of Christianity? Who has fought that? Where are the John the Baptist and others? Does it mean it's unfair to John the Baptist and others that we call Jesus Christ the founder of Christianity? Are we just doing this for the sake of, having something to talk about, or we really don't understand why Nkrumah should be the founder? Because I don't get it. Because life is replete with examples of why Nkrumah is founder. History is replete with examples of why Nkrumah is founder. So why are we doing this?
Suhuyini, do you agree that Kwame Nkrumah is not the only one who fought for Ghana's independence? That even on that day, 1957, or in the lead up to that, a number of processes had begun, if not years or decades before then?
Well, and what have I been saying? I've talked about the other prophets before Jesus Christ. Those were also processes leading up to the establishment of Christianity. That's what I've been saying. But Jesus Christ is the founder. So, in Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad, is the founder. But there is a whole chapter in the Quran dedicated to the mother of Jesus Christ, Maryam. And it talks about the birth of Jesus Christ and even his contribution to the religion Islam. And many other prophets like Prophet Musa, Moses, Abraham, and others are all there. But why do we say that Jesus Christ is the founder of Christianity and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad, is the founder of Islam? Why? Is it that we don't acknowledge the contribution of these other prophets? We do. And that's why I talked about Nana Akufo-Addo. Was he in every village, in every, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, was he in every village, in every nook and cranny to campaign to be president? Some people did it, made even, I'm sure, much more sacrifices by way of time and resources than he did. But he still will step forward. And that's why I give the example of the national team, the Black Stars. That there are many players who will contribute to the victory. But at the end of the day, one person will step up and take the trophy. So even on Independence Day, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah himself acknowledged the farmers, the fishermen, the market women, the other unions, trade unions, and other people who contributed. Even on the Declaration of Independence, Nkrumah didn't take the glory. He knew that the struggle was not a one-man struggle. So why is it difficult for us to accept this, principle that has operated in religion, in politics, in football? There is always a team. Sometimes some people will start something, but at the end of the day, one person is crowned. or one person takes the crown on behalf of everyone?
I mean, if there's the argument of the NDC, then I think
it's my argument.
Well, if this House Suhuyini is arguing, then he has a fundamental problem understanding the issue of founders and founding members, or a founding father and founders of Ghana. First of all, he brings in Jesus Christ in his argument, but I'll forgive him because he doesn't understand when we say Jesus is the founder of Christianity. All the prophets he mentioned, including John the Baptist, they came to prepare the way for Jesus, and they acknowledge it. It is only Jesus himself who came and said, I am the way, the truth, the truth and the life. And no one goes to the Father except through me. Which of the prophets said that? So he declared himself, and the others came, even John the Baptist that he refers to, he said he's not fit enough to remove the sandals. So don't equate these prophets to Jesus Christ, because they came to affirm who Jesus was. That is what we are talking about. It's got nothing to do with others who have played significant role towards attaining independence. He speaks about Nana Addo being sworn in as president of Ghana, but he forgets that his vice president, who was not on the ballot when we were voting, was also sworn in. Why was Alhaji Dr. Bawumia also sworn in as vice president? He was not even on the ballot. So when it comes to politics and roles people play in attaining independence, it is not about religion and whether a football captain receives the cup. After he has shown it to the crowd, what's the next thing he does? He hands it over to the team members, acknowledging their roles that they have played. So you cannot say that Bayern Munich or Manchester United, or let me come home, Kotoko won a match, and then the captain lifted the trophy, and that was the end of it. No. If the captain alone could play, why do we have 11 players on the field? So we will acknowledge, and even after the team has been rewarded, we will usually give the golden boot to one significant player. Has that not been the process? And that's what Nana Addo is saying. Let's acknowledge the role that everybody played. But to show that somebody played another extra significant role, let's say we are giving him the golden boot. Let's have a commemorative day for such an individual, which is Dr. Sajifo, Dr. Kwame. So for me, the attempt to reduce the role every individual played towards the independence in the scenarios that he's painting, first of all, do not watch, because you can't have an individual in political struggle to take all the credit, because it is first of all not done. America was not founded by Abraham Lincoln. You can check. There are so many founders.
They mentioned about 7
yes,
or 8 founders.
It was not founded by
George Washington.
Yes, all
Jefferson,
of them.
Benjamin Franklin.
Lots of them. An individual cannot be given credit in this country for a role he played. In any case...
So that's the basis of the...
Yeah, that's the basis. You can't do that. And look, even Nkrumah himself acknowledged that for him to come to Ghana, it was through the efforts of Akwejei, J.B. Dankwa, Pa Grant and the rest, who had to even contribute money to pay for his ticket to come. Right. And when he came, he was the only person who was on payroll. Right. So let us not make it look like Nkrumah did everything single-handedly and he alone founded Ghana. He couldn't have.
For the release from the president, we're told that that's what the president is going to do, even proposing that the birthday of Kwame Nkrumah will become the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, and that's the other date will be the Founders' Day.
Yeah.
Isn't that a deep-seated acknowledgement that beyond the actions and then also the contributions of the founders,
yes,
Kwame Nkrumah played more than a significant or an integral role, and so would have to be observed, and his acknowledgement also observed as such, and so a separate day for him?
Yes, I don't have any problem with that, and I have already acknowledged that even in a football match where the team has won, sometimes you give an individual player a golden boot for an exceptional role. So
Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day is golden boot for Kwame Nkrumah?
Yeah, for me, in the sense of a football match, that's how I see
the significance
it. But
of
let me talk about the others. You know, we have J.B. Dankwa Memorial Days. Sometimes there will be a lecture to talk about his role. I think there's a day like that, which is organized by, I think, DI. and some other private individuals.
But it's not national.
I'm not talking about national. I'm
this
saying
one
that
is
at
going
the
to be
national level, I respect the role of Nkrumah. I'm saying that he couldn't have done it alone. Others did it before him, and they gave him the opportunity to play the role that he did. So I don't have any difficulty at all. And I still maintain that whilst we have a Founders Day, which I think should be holiday, we should not have Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day as a holiday. For me, we have too many holidays, and we can have a lot of commemorative events, including lectures and even games and whatever among young people to learn about Kwame Nkrumah. Giving it a whole holiday...
Is it your view? Or
that's
you
my
think
personal
that's
view. Yes, that I've already told you that I think the idea to commemorate his day at the national level is good, because for me, he played an extra significant role in helping us get the independence. But he couldn't have been the only founding father of Ghana. It is not possible. And he himself will acknowledge that he couldn't have founded Ghana alone. So that is contrary to the facts as we know it. And I think we should have the Founders Day, including everybody, and the role that every individual played in this country, and then we all acknowledge it together. And then we can have that special day for Nkrumah on his birthday, in order not to forget about his significant contributions.
All right. I think that will end the argument then.
I have no further argument. I think, like I indicated, it's a waste of time. It's like kicking one's foot against a stone. Nkrumah's legacy is too big, and the earlier people accepted it, the better for us all. I mean, long ago, the battle against him started, even leading to his overthrow and all of that, and the banning of his books and literature and banning of his party. But he still stands tall. I think it's about time people just...
Very soon we'll cross over to do some discussions on public universities and their lecturers going on strike, etc. Or it's rather the university lecturers across Ghana's public universities that are expected to begin an indefinite strike action this morning. And they say they're going to resist what they call attack on academic freedoms following a court order asking the Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, whenever, to step aside. I guess it's a solidarity activity. And we have an interview we had with the president or the chairman of UTAG, and so we would want to play that to you.
Coming Monday, about 2,400 lecturers throughout the country in all the universities in Ghana are withdrawing only their teaching services. As you are aware, we do more than teaching.
But clearly for many students who are across the country, they know for a fact that it's the teaching service that is very important to the students.
No, and that is a wrong perception. If that is what, we do so many things. Teaching is just a fraction of the things that we do. So we are not technically going on strike. We are just withdrawing teaching that we think that the atmosphere does not permit us to do as we need to do. We don't want to be mediocre in the performance of our duties. We want to perform our duties as professionals. And so if there's any situation that to prevent us from doing our work well, I think it's just professional to say, well, let's wait and see what happens.
Doc, you are just from a class. For your students, and next week they'll not be seeing you in a classroom. Do you think it sits well with them to know that their lecturer is not in class, and because there's a court case somewhere miles away at Winneba, there's a disagreement, it's still before court, and UTAG is unhappy and they are saying that my lecturer should not come to class? Are you being fair to the students? We are being fair to the students.
Gentlemen, we are not happy ourselves. It's regrettable that we are where we are. We love the work we do, we love ourselves, we love our students, we love our institutions, we love our country. That is why we have elected ourselves to imprison ourselves in this environment to do what we do and have nothing to show for it. But we love it, that's what we do. That is what gives us fulfillment. Meeting with our students is our joy. And so for us to decide that we want to take our joy away and to embark on this action, you should know that it's a painful one. It's not something we are happy about. But there are times that you need to take the bitter pill to cure a situation as this one. And we are doing that for our students, we are doing that for their parents, we are doing that for ourselves, we are doing so for our country.
But at some point, who the lecturers...
And I mean, I thought they were... I mean, we all would disagree.
You don't like UTAG as a body? Or you don't think the action they are taking
one
is...
particular body I respect so much. I mean, they taught all of us to be who we are today.
Fantastic.
And they taught us to respect laws. They taught us to respect our courts. If a court makes a ruling, and maybe, because maybe I'm a lawyer, I see things maybe a bit differently from... Because how do you protest against a court ruling by a strike? It's not a political decision. It's a court ruling. So you go through the court processes, you appeal, so they will be better off.
A court ruling...
Yes, if it's a court ruling...
Cannot be countered.
Changed by a strike.
Not
No.
changed.
Or
cannot
what?
be counted.
How do you counter a court ruling? It's an order of the court. You counter it at your own detriment. Okay. You're either cited for contempt, which you may suffer the penalty thereof, or what. So they are better off putting their resources together to hire good lawyers to go and defend their case and go on appeal or turn the court decisions through the court processes. You don't use a strike to turn a court decision. What is that? And they are supposed to be teaching students to respect the laws of this country and to follow due processes. I mean, how do you change a court order by a strike? I'm surprised. So if this is the foundation of their strike, it is meaningless and they better go back to classroom. I mean, it constitutes indiscipline. We must respect our courts. This country, even presidents have been hauled before courts. We were all in this country where the president was in court for almost 8 months. And it took the Supreme Court to affirm his presidency before he was finally accepted. So if a vice chancellor has been determined to be wrongly appointed by the courts, how do you go on strike on that? You use the same court processes to overturn the decision. You don't strike. You see, if they are going to punish the students or they are going to cause the students' calendar in these campuses to change because of this baseless strike, or, I mean, you can't unjustifiable strike, they must be surcharged with whatever cost that will come. Because for me, if the argument is a court ruling, not a political decision by the government or by any individual, but a court ruling. You don't change a court ruling by a strike. And you can't fight against a court order by demonstration.
It has to be through the same means or process.
Yes. We have to respect rules. We have to respect the laws of our country.
You have to use a court system.
Yes. The UTAC must use their resources to hire good lawyers to overturn the decisions of the court, not going on strike. Please. They can't do that.
Yeah, quite intriguing, especially if you look at the substance on which the court itself made the ruling. Perhaps, so now they have to respect the decision of the court. We're told by John Kuma, who is a lawyer. But to what end would they be achieving the objective, going this way?
You know, to a very large extent, I agree with my brother on the need to overturn the court decision through the legal means. Is the only right path to take on matters such as this. So to a very large extent, I agree with him. But you have also raised a very important matter, which has to do with the substance of the case and the basis of the ruling. And that is where I am reminded of some debate or discussions that have gone around the exercise of justice, or the need to do justice on behalf of the people of Ghana. The fact that the courts are there to do justice on behalf of the people of Ghana, and that is in the Constitution. Now, I have read papers like the one by Dr. Raymond Atuguba and some other legal minds on what really is the expectation of the people when it comes to the justice that our lords are supposed to do on our behalf. It's an interesting debate. What really do we expect the lords on the bench to do on our behalf when the Constitution says that justice emanates from the people? It emanates from the people and it is administered on behalf of the people. So what are our expectations of that justice? And how are our lords on the bench living up to that expectation by the judgments that they dispense. That's where the issue of the substance of this ruling comes in. Because I've heard some people interpret it that, so is this ruling suggesting that if you don't come from, say, the Ashanti region, you can't head a school in that region? It may be wrong interpretation, but people are questioning that. So because maybe the man didn't come from the central region, so he can't be the principal there. You know, it may be wrong interpretation, but those are the fine lines that we see anytime judgment is said to be done. Like my brother talked about, the president who was in court for 8 months and had to be granted to continue working as president. Many of our MPP friends didn't agree with that kind of justice. They didn't believe that justice emanated from them. They didn't believe that was the justice they were seeking. But they didn't
go about protesting.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I said that there are two things I'm discussing here. I'm discussing that interesting debate, not into detail, of what justice emanating from the people and being dispensed on behalf of the people by the
reception of the outcomes.
And there is, exactly. So you see, the UTAG protest is understandable, but not acceptable. Is understandable, but not acceptable. I hope it is clear. That's why I say I agree with him. Because you see, it's a legal matter. It's a court that has ruled. So the right thing, the acceptable thing, is to go back to court, get a superior argument, overturn the decision that you are uncomfortable with. That's the acceptable thing, because we are living in a country governed by laws. But the understandable thing is perhaps what they are doing. Yes, I mean, maybe they want to be heard.
It's the moral thing, but it's not the legal.
Yes, maybe they feel frustrated. Maybe they don't think that justice.
Maybe they've taken no attempt at all.
Yes, no,
they've made no attempt at all.
This case has been in court for a very long time now. So maybe they know some frustrations we don't know. They know some things they don't understand with the legal system. And so they think the only way to draw attention to the impediments put in their way to secure the justice they believe is theirs is to go on the strike. And like I said, understandable but not acceptable.
But what could be the end result? What could it mean if the body like UTAG undertakes a strike action? And how can the justice system react to it?
You know, when you read Article 125 of our Constitution, it says that the power of the people is vested in the judiciary. Do you understand? And as it says, justice is administered on behalf of the people. If you have followed the Yinba matter clearly, it's like the community against particular people in the university. Because the suit was filed by a resident, or a citizen of Yinba, fighting for a particular cause in the university. You see, if you read, I'm sure those who are protesting, they've not even read the ruling. It's got nothing to do about where anybody came from. It's got nothing to do with where anybody came from. Just like Samini was surprised that his comment has got nothing to do with any accounting, and people are stretching it to mean that why are you attacking a particular group of people? It's the same thing. It's got not, go and read the rule. Just get a copy and read it. The judge never spoke about where anybody came from. It is about the processes leading to his appointment and whether the rules of his appointment were followed. And the court concluded that no. So the right procedure has to be followed. So in the meantime, these interlocutory decisions have been made. This person should do this, this person should. I mean, the court is just guiding the process so that the right processes can be respected. How is that got to do with where anybody came from? It is just a propaganda to incite a particular group of people against the court or against the cause that is being pursued in court. Let us stick to the court's ruling. Like I've stated, if they think that what the court has said is inconsistent to what they believe, they should hire good lawyers to get the same court to overturn its decisions either by the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court or whatever. But this propaganda of where somebody comes from has got nothing to do with the matter before the court. It's a purely legal matter. Let's allow the court system to work. UTAG should gather their resources to get good lawyers to go and pursue their case. It's got nothing to do with, you can't turn any court decision in this country by a strike action. In fact, if you read, I think, Article 3 of our Constitution, even if the president attempts to turn a court decision, it's a ground for his impeachment. And after that, he must be jailed for 10 years, for which he is not even entitled to occupy any public office for the rest of his life. So to come against a court decision is not a joking business. Maybe somebody has not told them.
I think the leg of my question also centered on what actions then can the justice system take, knowing that outside the system, a decision we have taken has resulted in some actions. What
they should pray that the lawyers on the side of the plaintiff don't file any contempt proceedings against them. It is very contemptuous of the court.
All right.
And they cannot put pressure on the courts by this action. You know, you cannot influence decisions of the court either directly or indirectly. And by what they are doing, if what is being reported is true, that they are seeking to strike against a court ruling, what are you trying to do? It is a dangerous path to take, and I think somebody has to advise them. Otherwise, if their leadership is hauled before the courts on matters of contempt, I shudder to think how they are going to fight it.
All right.
You know, there's only one other little matter that I think that this could be the opportunity to discuss that also. I think our academic institutions are, I want the right phrase. I think to always hide under the pretext of academic freedom to do certain things is not acceptable. I, for a very long time, have kicked against that. Look, if you go even to the most basic dictionary or online search engines and find a definition of academic freedom, and why and how it was introduced and why it is important, it has very little to do with some of the things that our lecturers in the past and these days link to, you know, an abuse or an infringement of academic freedoms. And I'll give you an example. And I stated so then, and I'm saying that now. I mean, how does a passage through a university or not infringe on academic freedom by the definition of academic freedom? How?
Well, we're going to another definition.
No, you see, that's why I'm saying that the use of that phrase should not be abused by our academic institutions. Yes, everybody respects academic freedom of institutions. And when it is infringed upon, like trying to dictate the content of lectures and even reading material and all of that, that's academic freedom. But a route through a university, academic freedom, no one has stopped you from going to your class to lecture. No one has dictated to you what you should teach and what you should not teach. But in the name of academic freedom, everybody is hoodwinked. I mean, you can have legitimate cause to resist that action. You may say that, yes, it will affect your peace of mind and all that, but it does not relate to academic freedom, by my understanding. So I'm saying that sometimes I think that people in these institutions just hide under that phrase, academic freedom, to get away with, excuse my use of that expression again, murder. You know, because it's I know that academic freedom.
Anyway,
you see,
that's a common expression.
Again, it's also another expression. I'm not saying they are murdering people.
Yeah, I know.
Because we have to understand that. I think an old man told me once that when you are talking, anytime you are speaking, 3 people listen to you. That's those you are more intelligent than, those who are intelligent than you are, and those that you are at the same level. So their interpretation of what you say will be different. So it's good that I clarify.
No, I have not said anything. It's just that. Go away with that.
Yeah. So
I know. We know the context in which.
I think we should respect academic freedom, but that freedom too should not be abused and extended to.
Now we have Maxwell Agbagba, who is on the campus of the University of Ghana, to give us some sound bites. would want to watch him do those interviews and see what the students also will be saying about the intended strike action by their lecturers.
You know, even awarding contracts.
Hello, Maxwell. Hello, Maxwell.
Hello, Roland.
So you are talking to some students?
Exactly, Roland. So we're here on the University of Ghana campus, Legon campus. We've been to lots of the classrooms, the lecture theaters here. We've been to the University of Ghana Business School, where we can say that classes is really happening. We've been to we're currently actually at the John Scotty building, where classes are also happening. I've been to about 5 different classrooms, and lecturers are in there. And classes are happening. Students, some of the classes are actually full. A lot of students are also trickling in, because we know that there would also be a 9:30 class. So the 7:30 class, which ends at 9:30, is currently ongoing here at the John Scotty building. On our way, we went through the University of Ghana Business School. There also classes are happening. Also at the new N block, that's the NNB1, NNB2, NNB3. Classes are happening this month. That's the 7:30 to 9:30 class. And even as we stand here, we see some of the students walking here for their 9:30 class. I have some students here who are going to join us to tell us whether they are surprised to see classes happening. Let me start off with you, Caleb. Caleb, you were telling me that you knew that there was going to be a strike, but there's no strike. It looks like your lecturers are actually in class teaching at this moment. You should be excited.
Yes, I must say I'm very excited. Yesterday, I think 2 days ago when I heard the news, I was shook. But then coming here today, knowing that, yes, the lecturers have come here to teach us, I'm quite excited myself. And SEM just began. We can't be having strikes here and there which will affect our studies. So I must say I'm excited.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me find out from you also. There are some who are saying that, well, for an incident that's playing out on the University of Education Winneba campus, we don't see how it affects us here on the University of Ghana campus. I've heard some of these concerns raised by your own colleagues. I don't know what you also think about that.
Well, for me, as my colleagues have said earlier, that it shouldn't necessarily affect other institutions. But last week, I heard from one radio station, that's Radio Universe, and they called the president, and he was asked why why this should affect other institutions, and he was of the views that it's better they stop this thing now before it affects other institutions, because if they're only going to concentrate on Winneba, then next time it might be another university. So it's better they generalize everything so that it doesn't, in the future to come, it doesn't affect other institutions as well.
Well, they described the ruling by the Winneba High Court as an attack on academic freedom. So in solidarity, they are also calling the strike. But let me find out from you, what do you also make of that? There are some who are saying, look, do fear them. We are here on the University of Ghana campus, and we don't think that this should affect us.
Yes, I think that, as the adage goes, that if you see your brother's beard burning, you should try to get water attached to yours.
Some people say you should enter the well.
Some people even say that you should shave your beard, you understand? Yeah, so I am of the view that, with something of this nature happening on the University of Education, Winneba's campus, moving forward as a nation, okay, even as students embarking on our academic journey, I believe that we shouldn't sit down, aloof, and then allow certain things to happen. I'm of the view that government should step in. I also know that the ruling was from the Winneba High Court, and with that, government cannot just step in and then make a pronouncement. However, I think that they should expedite measures to facilitate the resolution of the matter so that things can go on well with us. Yeah.
Well, if you look at this, the statement, the press released by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, they are saying that it looks like the Ministry of Education itself is sitting on consent, not looking at ways to resolve this issue amicably, and the newly inaugurated board, governing board also are not really looking at resolving this matter anytime soon. But we've seen these things happen, especially on the University of Ghana campus, where UTAG declares strike, but lecturers still go to class to teach. And then later in the day, or in the subsequent days, the second day, the 10th day, then you get lecturers not really, coming to class. Do you harbor any fear that even though lecturers are in class this morning, maybe tomorrow they would not be in class?
All right. I don't have any fear because when news broke out, I think Saturday or so, I did hear that even where the issue actually started, that is UEW, lecturers rejected that strike. So once the situation emanated from the place and lecturers have rejected it, then I am not affected at all.
You think it's a case of crying more than the bereaved?
Yes, I do think so myself. And I do, as the days come by, as the subsequent days come by, I know lecturers are going to continue as they have started today. And no lecturer is going to go on strike because from beginning, they rejected it. And I believe so much that once they've rejected it, there's no way they are going back on their words. Yes.
You are highly optimistic, but maybe you want to give, way to some level of, pessimism so that when eventually, it happens, you wouldn't be too shocked. Do you think that when lecturers here go on strike, it has, it can derail, your academic progress? Because there are times when lecturers go on strike and you realize that times that you'd have to go home, you'd have to spend more time here on the campus still attending classes, and sometimes they are not able to cover the course outline that they're supposed to. Do you have any fears like that?
Oh yeah, for me I really do. We can jump into conclusion right now that this whole strike thing is going to be called off. It could be that tomorrow though they're going to start it, and I really have fear in that because for me we are starting our IE this Saturday, and IE this Saturday, and I think I need my lecturer in class to finish up the course outline before IA starts. So I think I'm having some kind of fear, but I hope things go on well. They don't go on strike. They don't hit to what UTAC is saying, and they should just think of us, we the students. They should put our interests in their hearts. Yeah.
Let me wrap up with you. I'm sure there are some teachers, some lecturers watching right now. Maybe you have a message for them.
My concern really has got to do with the fact that that there are divided factions to get with regard to this issue. And Caleb was saying that he's seeing some of the lecturers in class and all that, but I also believe that some of the lecturers actually agree with this strike. And so what of the courses that the lecturers agree with the strike? So if other courses, the lectures of other courses are going on, what about the other courses who have lecturers agreeing to the strike action? I believe that they should fasten the measures to resolve the issue so that we can have a sound environment to learn, especially when IE is just right around the corner.
Okay, I want to say a big thank you to you. So Roland, that's the update from the University of Ghana campus here. Classes are happening here at JQB, at the new N block, at the University of Ghana Business School, and all the lecture theaters here on the University of Ghana campus. Lectures are really happening here, Roland.
Well, quite an interesting scenario, but we'll check again later in the afternoon or perhaps later in the morning and see whether in earnest those strike actions will be taken by those members of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Very interesting point. Maxwell Akpakpa there on the campus of the University of Ghana. Very interesting points there. It shows that perhaps maybe they are not heeding to, or they are not warming up to it, or perhaps maybe right-thinking members of the association think otherwise. But
like I was just saying, even contract awards these days in the university border on academic freedom. Contracts. If the university is going to award a contract that may be an investigative body or government that spends on the university is concerned about and wants information, it's academic freedom. I think we should get serious.
Well, if you're infringing on the academic freedom of the universities, they have to stay. But let's look at this. This one, we'll look at it just for 5-10 minutes and then we'll go off. Former President J. John Rawlings, he's stoking fire again. He had an interaction when Bolare visited him to present him with a copy of his book. And then later he spoke to TV3 and he re-emphasized what he said in that first interaction with Bolare and his team, saying that he looks at the atmosphere. He doesn't think the NDC has got what it takes to perhaps unseat the MPP and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2020. That seemed to have roused some feathers, especially within his party. And we would want to subject his comments. And so he now have to start with you. What do you make of the former president and your founder's comment?
Well, our founder, Jerry Rawlings, is an interesting politician, very smart, and politically sensitive. But he doesn't always get it right. For example, some years back, when the youth had a congress in Bolga, and it was a contest between Honorable Haruna Idrisu and Neelante van der Poy. He was very convinced that Neelante van der Poy was going to win and supported him fully. At the end of the day, with his respect intact, the party voted Honorable Haruna Idrisu against his candidate, Honorable Neelante van der Poy. Some time ago, when he supported his wife, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, to contest against Professor Mills, believing that his wife stood a better chance. Again, with his respect intact, nobody disrespecting him and his choice, still hailing him as founder, still loving him the way we do, we still said, Papa, we want Professor Mills. And we proved that point. In fact, in 2012, when he did not join the campaign of the NDC, the NDC went ahead and prosecuted a campaign that gave us victory. It would have been better if we had him on board, but his absence didn't deny us victory in 2012. So he's politically savvy, he's smart, we love him, but he's not always right. And history is replete with examples of why he's not always right and why his assessment of things can sometimes be wrong. Like I've given you, he assessed that Neelante was a choice of the party. It didn't happen, you know, and so many other examples that you can give. So for me, it's much ado about nothing. He's entitled to that view. That's the way he sees things now. I mean, there are leading members of the NPP who in the last general election of 2016 said that Nana Akufo-Addo could not win the elections against NDC. They said so. What did the NPP and Nana Akufo-Addo do? They went out there to prove them wrong. And for me, the joy that I am waiting to see on our founder's face in 2021, may God give us long life, is something that motivates me to keep going. Because you see, there is that inner satisfaction and joy when somebody you respect so much doubt your capacity to do something, to achieve, and you achieve. And you know that he doubts your capacity not because he doesn't mean well for you. He only doubts your capacity because he's afraid that you will fail. It's not like he doesn't want you to succeed. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Yes.
So for me, it's a challenge for us as a party to prove him wrong in a very nice way and tell him that, Papa, you didn't believe we could do it. We have done it. Look, and inshallah, 2020, we'll do it for him. We'll do it for him. I am very confident that we'll do him, and he'll be proud of us. He'll be proud that we did it.
You've read the preamble we gave you. John Kuma, you've read the preamble we gave you?
Yes, I've read it.
Okay.
I've read it.
So what do you make of it? It says, let's give the party back to grassroots. They are the ones who actually make it possible. But I know that the NPP too has been through some of these scenarios. So,
I mean, it's always a good advice when your founder tells you you're not doing well. So sit up. I mean, if you read the preamble you gave us, it says that the NDC has lost the moral high ground. They are now a party synonymous to corruption. They are known as incompetent, and all their messages to...
Did he say all the things you say?
Oh, but...
So you've lost the moral high ground.
And we're incompetent.
What's the meaning of that?
And we're incompetent, we are whatever. All the things that he's adding. Or did he say that?
What am I here to do?
Moral
propaganda.
Not propaganda. To analyze what your founder has said. When he says you have lost moral high ground, what does it mean? It means that the NDC is now synonymous to corruption. You are now known as incompetent. And your only message to Ghanaians is that it cannot be done. And now that Ghanaians are seeing that, oh, free SHS is possible. Oh, 1 million per constituency is possible. And all the numerous promises are coming to pass. Then obviously the founder can only warn you that if this competent government carries on with all the promises, the fulfillment of its promises, and the way Ghanaians are happy, doing so is now a thing of the past and all that, then clearly you should forget about 2020. For me, it's an advice, but it's up to them to either respect it as an advice and work to improve on themselves, or to continue to insult him as they have always done, since they said they have changed the backing dog. Their general secretary said that they have seen their efforts either dwindling or improving upon every election. So it's up to them. If they think that he's not somebody they need to win an election, it's up to them. If they think they want to respect his decisions or his advice and work upon it, it's up to them. As for those of us in government today, we know that there's a huge tax that Ghanaians have entrusted their hopes on the NPP government, and we cannot afford to let them down. All the pledges and promises on job creation and all the things that we have promised them, we have started work, and very soon Ghanaians will see the benefits and dividends of their votes.
I would want to talk about, I have to, or you want to?
Yes, just a quick one. You see, that is the stock in trade of the NPP. The propaganda and the spin and the deliberate creation of confusion by putting words in people's mouths and all of that. That's exactly what my good friend John Kumah has just done.
What did he do?
By suggesting that former President Rawlings said we are incompetent, we are corrupt, we are...
I think he was trying to interpret... It says,
you see, he is
you have lost the moral integrity.
He's right to say that this is my understanding
of
you have lost the moral integrity.
Is it even worse than what I have said? You have lost moral integrity.
Moral integrity can be interpreted in various forms. So if that is your interpretation, you say so. But you put it out there as if it is the founder who said that. And then invite unnecessary attacks against the founder because somebody will not know that these are your words and not the founder's words. So I think that NDC as a party, we need to know these guys and what they do.
John Kumah,
your founder said you have lost the moral high ground. You've lost moral integrity.
For
that's what you want to hear, not that you are incompetent.
Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. Plan. NEP.
NEIP and
National.
That's also a campaign
Entrepreneurship
promise.
Yes,
and Innovation Plan.
That's what Ghanaians voted for.
Okay. National
Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan.
He has a job now. I wonder how many
have
a job now.
So that's John Kumah. He's also a lawyer.